India Legal presents Courts Roundup.
The Supreme Court has clarified that a blanket restriction cannot be placed on anticipatory bail in cases of illegal quarrying or mining, theft and smuggling of sand and minerals, and that each case has to be considered on merits. The bench headed by Justice S.K. Kaul in the course of hearing a SLP arising out of an October 16 decision, the Madras High Court denying anticipatory bail to the petitioner, noted that the High Court had on September 3 held that no anticipatory bail shall be granted to the offences involving illegal quarrying, transportation of mines and minerals on December 11. The bench, also comprising Justices Dinesh Maheshwari and Rishikesh Roy, held that it is not the individual offender not aware about rippling effect the illegal act causes the environment and ecology. The bench said that the greed and selfish attitude of the offenders are increasing day by day and that the courts cannot keep the eyes and ears closed. The bench found that the sand and mineral offenders are unmindful of the fact that they are killing their mother nature and are continuing to indulge in illegal activities, since there is hope for them that they can get away by complying with the stringent conditions imposed by the courts while granting anticipatory bail or advance bail. Delhi High Court has said that reservation or relaxations given to scheduled tribes cannot be taken away by invoking technicalities. The court remarked that apart from providing relaxations or reservation to members of scheduled tribes community, there should be relaxation in implementing the same.
The reservations relaxations given to the scheduled tribe communities cannot be taken away by invoking technicalities, the Delhi High Court ruled, underscoring the objective behind affording such benefits. A division bench of Justices Rajiv Sahai Endlaw and Asha Menon said that reservations relaxations are in admission of the disadvantages which the STs have suffered for generations, which place them in an unequal position vis-a-vis other citizens. The petitioner Lekhraj Meena belonged to the scheduled tribes category. His candidature for recruitment to Central Industrial Security Force was rejected on the ground of delayed submission of the form of certificate for height relaxation for ST candidates as per SSC notification. The said form of certificate for height relaxation was required to be issued by the magistrate, subdivision magistrate or the district tehsildar concerned, and therefore petitioner was required to go back to his hometown, that is Karoli in Rajasthan, to obtain the same. However, on account of the ongoing farmers' protest, the petitioner was not able to obtain and submit the form on time. The height of the petitioner was 165 centimeters against the cutoff limit of 162.5 centimeters provided for those belonging to ST category, and he had duly submitted his caste certificate. The cutoff limit for general category was 170 centimeters. The court opined that the district tehsildar was clearly wrong in denying the certificate for height relaxation to the petitioner for the reason that he did not belong to the hilly areas. In response to the respondent's stand, the court remarked that apart from providing relaxations or reservations to the members of the ST community, there should be relaxation in implementing the reservations as well. The court thus held that the petitioner's failure in submitting the certificate for height relaxation could be viewed pedantically, forgetting the very purpose of granting the reservations or relaxations. Bureau Report.
A division bench of Delhi High Court comprising of Justice Hema Kohli and Justice Subramaniam Prasad has directed the Delhi government to ensure prompt and adequate testing and follow-up with respect to those found positive with all seriousness to avoid another spate of infection in the view of Delhi. The bench was hearing a PIL filed by Mr. Rakesh Malhotra seeking directions to be issued to the government of NCT of Delhi to ramp up the testing facilities for both symptomatic and asymptomatic COVID patients. The direction came in the view of an earlier order passed by the bench after government has filed a tabular chart containing number of tests and methods undertaken by the government. The bench will be observing the figures presented by the Delhi government on increasing testing. It took note of the recent decision taken by the central government suspending flights from United Kingdom in the wake of transmission of new COVID variant. It directed the Delhi government to ensure prompt and adequate testing measures of people who are found positive. The bench also directed the Delhi government to ensure that RT-PCR testing remains higher than the RAT testing after the government of NCT of Delhi informed the court that it is enhancing contact tracing and creating more contingent zones in the districts where positivity rate is found to be higher. Delhi High Court has said that continued reservation in ICU beds for COVID-19 patients is inhumane. During the hearing, Additional Solicitor General Sanjay Jain said that an expert panel had suggested taking down the reservation from 80% to 60%, and the final decision of the executive was awaited.
The Delhi High Court has directed Aam Aadmi Party government to place on record its latest decision on de-escalation of reservation of intensive care units beds for COVID-19 patients in 33 private hospitals while deferring any order in relation to the same. A single judge bench of Justice Naveen Chawla nonetheless remarked that the continuation of reservation in ICU beds was inhumane. Considering the improved situation of COVID-19, the court was hearing a petition preferred by Association of Healthcare Providers, the petitioner challenging the September 12 order passed by the Delhi government on the mandatory reservation of 80% ICU beds for COVID-19 patients in 33 private hospitals. The Delhi government order was stayed by the court on September 22. However, as the situation of COVID-19 worsened in the national capital, the stay order was vacated by the decision bench of High Court. Appearing for the petitioner, senior advocate Maninder Singh argued that since the number of positive cases and the positivity rate had come down, there was no need for the continuation of the order. He added that even on the day when the original order was issued, no relevant data was considered to arrive at the decision. Appearing for the Delhi government, Additional Solicitor General Sanjay Jain informed that court that on December 23, a panel comprising 3 doctors had suggested taking down the reservation from 80% to 60% and a decision of the executive was awaited. Claiming that all arguments were in anticipation, Jain said. He further assured the court that the submissions made by the petitioner would be placed before the meeting of the authorities on December 26. Jain nonetheless added that the issue of the new COVID strain from United was a cause of worry. To await the decision of the executive, orders on the issue were deferred by the court. The court's suggestion that the Delhi government authorities hear the petitioners before arriving at any decision was turned down by the petitioner himself. Bureau Report.
In a relief to Padma Shri awardees, the Delhi government has granted relief to 3 eminent artists who have been asked to vacate accommodation given to them by the central government in recognition of their exemplary work in the field of art.
The Delhi High Court has stayed the central government order directing 3 eminent artists, 2 being Padma Shri awardees, to vacate the accommodation given to them in recognition of their extraordinary contribution in the field of art. The court has clarified that the stay order shall not prevent the central government from considering the representation made by the artists. The agreed petitioners are Bharti Shivaji, V. Jairam Rao and Banasri Rao. Bharti Shivaji was awarded the prestigious Padma Shri Award, Sangeet Natak Academy Award and Sahitya Kala Parishad Samman for reviving and propagating Mohiniyattam, the classical dance of Kerala in India and abroad. Vijay Ram Rao, who resides with Banasri Rao, his wife and dance partner, was also awarded the Padma Shri Award, Sangeet Natak Academy Award, among several other awards for his contribution to Kuchipudi. Banasri Rao herself is a foremost guru who is the recipient of Kuchipudi Sangeet Natak Academy Award given by the President of India, the Delhi State Award and the Andhra Pradesh Samman. All 3 petitioners have been living in the government allotted accommodation in Asian Games Village complex for the last 33 years. Pursuant to the eviction notice issued by the central government in October 2020, the petitioners were ordered to vacate the premises by December 31, failing which action under Public Premises Eviction of Unauthorized Occupants Act 1977 would be initiated against them. The eviction order claimed that the petitioners' stay had been legal since 2014. Given the facts that they dedicated their entire lives to their respective art forms representing the country, the petitioners have contended before the court that eviction notice was shocking both on moral and legal grounds. It is petitioners' case that the orders of eviction violate the legitimate expectation to continue in the allotted accommodation which were granted to them on account of them devoting their life for the sake of extraordinary contribution in the field of respective arts. It was also pointed out that there was no hearing or reasoning afforded to them, and same violates the principles of natural justice. Further, given the old age of the petitioners and pandemic, eviction order went contrary to the doctrine of proportionality. Court was told. It was emphasized that the petitioner, unlike other professionals, did not make substantial sum of money and had no alternative accommodation. It was emphasized that the petitioners, unlike other professionals, did not make substantial sums of money and had no alternate accommodation available in any part of India. Bureau Report.
Coming down heavily on a police officer for his failure to register an FIR related to the matter wherein allegations of a Hindu girl being taken away by a Muslim man in an organized manner was made. The Delhi High Court has ordered the state to trace the girl and produce her before the court. The bench of Justice Vipin Sanghi and Justice Rajneesh Bhatnagar also transferred the investigation to the Athu Crime Branch on registration of the FIR. The petitioner, father of the girl, filed a habeas corpus petition for protection of his daughter, who allegedly went missing. As per the allegation, one Syed Mustafa removed the daughter of the petitioner from her residence. The petitioner also stated that on the same day, the girl was taken to Kolkata by train. The petitioner also stated that the petitioner's daughter appears to have been taken away in an organized manner. The counsel pointed out that the petitioner's daughter by education is B.Tech, whereas the person with whom she is claimed to have eloped is a labourer. He also stated that the father of the person or labourer, namely Munna Bhai, was also missing ever since the girl went missing. It was also claimed that she had also informed her family members that she does not wish to be disturbed and that she is happy and safe wherever she is. Consequently, the court directed the state to make all-out efforts to produce the girl and provide adequate security. The Delhi High Court took note of the large-scale illegal and unauthorized constructions near Qutub Minar, a protected heritage monument in Mehrauli, and directed the South Delhi Municipal Corporation Zonal Deputy Commission to fix responsibility of officers involved in the petitioner has shown Google Earth screen grab annexed with the petition, which revealed the nature and timeline of ongoing unauthorized constructions. During the hearing, the SDMC Council said that on the basis of mispresentation and facts and fabrication of documents, permission for a building has been taken from the ASI and the corporation. Justice Najmi Waziri said this is odd because permission could not have been granted for any construction in the prohibited zone of 100 meters abutting a protected monument. The court has directed the Zonal Deputy Commissioner of the corporation to also look into the matter and fix the responsibility of the officers who may be found to be in dereliction of their duties. The court has also impleaded Delhi Police and Tree Officer GNCTD as necessary parties in the matter and issued notice to them. It has directed the Director General of the ASI, the DCP South, to look into the matter with respect to the role in the police. The petitioner has sought directions for demolition of illegal and unauthorized construction activity undertook at property in Qutub Colonnade and its adjoining land, as clearly marked in the map, in contravention to the law. Jammu and Kashmir High Court has given an order on rape victims' identity. The court has instructed to strictly desist from two-finger test revealing identity of rape survivor. The High Court said rape destroys the personality of a victim and courts should therefore act responsibly and with sensitivity while dealing with cases of rape.
health professionals across the territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Union Territory of Ladakh should strictly desist from carrying out the two-finger test on rape survivors. The bench of Acting Chief Justice Rajesh Bindal and Justice Sanjay Dhar also directed all subordinate court in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh to avoid disclosing identity of rape survivors in their proceedings and judgments. The observations were made after it came to the notice of the High Court that the trial court in a judgment acquitting a rape accused had mentioned the name of the survivor several times. The High Court also found that the rape survivor was subject to two-finger test. Rape, the court said, is not merely a physical assault, but it is destruction of the personality of the victim. Therefore, courts have to act responsibly and with sensitivity while dealing with cases of rape, particularly while referring to the perceived trickeries, it added. The court was hearing an appeal filed against a judgment passed by Principal Sessions Judge Vadirwa, whereby the accused respondent was acquitted of charge of rape. After investigation of the case, it was found that the prosecutrix, after being kidnapped, was raped by the respondent, and accordingly charge sheet for offence under section 363 and 376 was laid before the court. The trial court, however, acquitted the accused, holding that offence could not be proved. During the course of hearing, the court noted that as per trial court order, the prosecutrix has been subjected to two-finger test. The court proceeded to place reliance on Supreme Court judgment in case of Lilu and others versus State of Haryana, wherein the court had held that two-finger test is unconstitutional as it violates the right to privacy of the rape survivors and was an affront to the physical and mental integrity and dignity. Apart from that, the court also noted that trial court mentioned the name of prosecutrix at several places in the judgment. The case itself was admitted and now will be heard on merits. Bureau Report.
For more updates about this case, we have Advocate Adarsh Kumar with us. Adarsh, tell us what court has said about rape victims in this case.
Jammu Kashmir High Court directed the trial court of the Union Territory of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh to avoid disclosing identity of survivors in their proceedings and judgments. The court said section 228A of IPC prohibits disclosure of identity of the victim of the creation offences, which including offence under section 376 IPC. In filing material to aforesaid provision in section 228A of Jammu Kashmir Ranjit Penal Code, which was applicable to the case and at the relevant time, it is time need of the...
Thank you, Adarsh, for joining us. Allahabad High Court has denied bail to Managing Director of Amrapali Group. The High Court relied on the order passed by the Supreme Court in July 2019, in which involvement of the accused in the offence had been meticulously flagged.
The Allahabad High Court has denied bail to Anil Kumar Sharma, the Managing Director of the Amrapali Group of Companies, in the case filed against him for offences committed under Section 3 and 4 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Justice Dinesh Kumar Singh deemed it to not be appropriate to enlarge Kumar on bail, in view of the Supreme Court's order of July 2019, in which his alleged involvement in the offence had been meticulously flagged. His conduct before the Supreme Court and the fact that the investigation was still on and money trail yet to be completely unearthed. The matter came up before the High Court after Kumar's bail application before the Special Judge Sessions Court PMLA, Lucknow, was rejected in July this year. Tracing the timeline of the scam that defrauded home buyers, the High Court recounted that the Supreme Court had relied on the findings recorded by forensic auditors to conclude that there was a prima facie violation of FEMA and other fraudulent activities of money laundering. Thus, the top court had directed the Enforcement Directorate to probe the case and fix liability on persons responsible for the scam. The High Court also observed Kumar has been accused of serious economic offences. But for the Supreme Court's intervention, the High Court noted that thousands of flat buyers would have been left high and dry by the promoters of the Amrapali Group of Companies and that the Amrapali scam would not have been unearthed. Kumar was described as the kingpin of the fraud, cheating, diversion of funds and money laundering allegedly involved in the case. Thus, in view of the order passed by special judge, the nature of accusation, the gravity of offence and the punishment provided for the offence, the fact that the investigation had been going on qua other accused, and given that the scam allegedly involves a huge amount of rupees 6,000 crores, the bail application was rejected. Bureau Report.
That's all for Courts Roundup. Keep watching APN.
India Legal presents Courts Roundup.